Okay, so now our webinar. So this is the table of contents for today. First, initially, we'll talk about effective team communication. So what we do in our team and what we do, what we've learned from other teams, how to communicate effectively in a team, how to change, what to change to make sure that your team is on the same page. Because, you know, as the team grows, it's really hard to keep people on the same page. And then there will be a short break when I'll explain to all of you who know Nozbe and who have used Nozbe Personal or Nozbe Teams, the difference between these two apps, because the difference are substantial and many people still are asking about it. So I'll try to explain it as best as I can. And then after that, we'll talk about meetings, our favorite topic. And then after the meetings, there will be a short bonus. So make sure to stick around, and there will be also like additional, bonus. And of course, there will be the bonus book I mentioned. Before I start, I have to, address the elephant in the room. So the pandemic of COVID-19. I hope you are safe. Please stay safe because this thing is not over yet. We don't have still a vaccine, so it's gonna still take time. We still have to practice social distancing, and so the pandemic forced things to change. People were forced to go and work from home suddenly. In our team, in Nozbe team, we've been working like this forever. We've been working from home like from the very beginning. But still, these were tough times for us because, of course, our kids had to stay with us. So, for example, I had to change my schedule to be able to be homeschooling my kids and working. But today, I want to look at this situation, from a like glass half full, glass half empty perspective, because I think there are some positives for this change. Because like every drastic change like this can be also a catalyst for something new, for something to rethink how we work, to do something differently. And I think this is an opportunity for this, even though we didn't want it like this, but I think it can be. So to all of you who don't know me that well, I started my Nozbe journey like this. This was my home office in 2007, 2008. It was a desk, an IKEA desk in the corner of my living room. So I've been working from home from the very beginning, from when I started Nozbe. And then as Nozbe grew and our team grew to 20 and more people, we still decided not to rent an office, but just to be working from homes. So that's why we structured all of our work to be remote first, to be able to work from anywhere, to be able to be creative, to be able to do this, to be able to serve our customers. And we've succeeded to have so many cool users and customers for all this time. So, and I'm not saying that everyone has to be like this. I'm not saying that everyone has to, completely ditch office and just work from home. But I think what this pandemic has showed us that we can have more flexibility in the way we work. We can have sometimes a day or two that we work from homes, if we set it up all correctly, if we set up the internal communication in a team correctly. And this is what I'll be talking about to you today. And if you're curious how my home office looks like now, well, there is this photo. And as you can see, this is exactly where I'm standing right now. This is my situation here. And I have a stand-up desk, which I really like. So if you haven't tried working in a stand-up desk, I really recommend. This is very, very nice. And this IKEA stand-up desk is not very expensive, and you can lift it up, put it down. It's very cool. And I have here a whole setup to make sure that I look like this, and I have the lights and everything. And of course, this photo also answers the most important question that everybody on this webinar was asking themselves. Yes, I do wear pants. Okay, so now that this is out of the way, let's focus on the webinar. How small teams can do great things by ditching email and meetings. So why should we ditch email or meetings? Or like, how should we do both of these things differently? Well, let's find out. So part one, effective team communication without email. So what I mean without email, like what is this? So we've been advocating this quite a long time, also on our blog, through our previous webinars, that we believe at Nozbe that you should like have a separate way that you communicate with the external world, with people from the outside, and separate way to communicate internally within your team. This way, things don't get messed up. Because otherwise, you have all these channels, you have all these chats and emails and everything else. It's a mess, and especially with email. Email is great. Until it really isn't. Because important email from coworkers gets mixed up with newsletters and emails from customers. People mention many things in just one email message, so you just have to really follow up and make sure that you follow everything. Also, people forget attachments. Like, how many times have you received an email and like, oh, attached is this document, and then, oh, I forgot. And of course, in an email, it's hard to find what's the latest version. What's the latest version of this document? It's really hard. And apart from that, and we'll talk about it more later, email is really not secure, because if you send attachment, it's being sent completely unencrypted. So people can intercept this email and can intercept these attachments. This is a huge security risk, especially right now. So again, what we're advocating is separating, like using a professional tool, like a professional, meaning a dedicated tool to communicate internally in a team, and using email and other ways to communicate with customers. And we call that task-based communication, because we like to communicate through tasks. And here's an example in Nozbe Teams. In Nozbe Teams, it's a very nice structure. There are projects and view, like on all the other views, so like priority and all that stuff, and your projects. And then in these projects, there are tasks. And in these tasks, there are comments and other task parameters. So this way, the situation is very clear. There is a project to be done. There is a list of tasks, and each task has some comments where you can specify what exactly you want people to do. You can specify when, like due date and all that stuff, and you can specify who should do it. And on the list of tasks, like here, you can see exactly like which task I'm responsible for, which task has no responsibility whatsoever, and which one, for example, Hubert is responsible for here on this screenshot. So it's a really, really nice, clear structure, and it's very like transparent in the company. Like, exactly, like, project is here, the tasks are there, and there are comments to really iron out the details. So to give you a better example, I'm going to just walk you through an actual project. Here is a webinar project. So a project that we had here to prepare this very webinar for you. This looks like this. As you can see, there is the content section of the webinar, and there's the webinar outline, the title of the webinar, and then the webinars, and there is the execution, the promo, and all that stuff, all the goodies. And as you can see, for example, the task title of the webinar had lots of comments. Actually, here it had 5. In real life, this task, because I didn't want to overwhelm you, but this task in real life had 40-something comments, because we were discussing the title over and over and over, and we were discussing the title in all 3 languages, because tomorrow we're delivering this webinar in Spanish and in Polish. So anyway, as you can see in the comments, so on the right side, yep, you can see the people who are commenting. You can see there is a pinned comment, so which is like a comment that is stands out, which is really important. And then we can also discuss with reactions. So we can like say, yeah, I like it, or I don't like it, or I love it. You can do all of that. So it's really simple. It's really like clear. Like, this is the project that is responsible for the whole webinar, and these are all the tasks that would need to be done, and these are the details that we have to make sure that we know. So it's really, there's a clear structure, the communication is focused, and the collaboration is focused. And so this is this webinar project is an example of a project that has a clear beginning and an end. But there is a second type of projects that we also have in Nozbe. So for example, there is an ongoing project, a project that will never end, because we will keep designing Nozbe. So there is Nozbe Teams Design Project. And Nozbe Design Project, it's a project that we keep on, adding new ideas, tweaking the ideas, and all that stuff. And as you can see, again, it has a nice structure. There is a new ideas section where you can add tasks with new ideas that you have. There's upcoming meeting, so stuff for the upcoming meeting. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And there is a feedback needed section where you can ask for feedback, your friends, your colleagues here about the task that you want to do. And here, for example, you see that there is a Slack integration, because we're working right now on Slack integration for Nozbe Teams, and there is a Slack integration task. And over there is a link to a Dropbox paper document where we discuss the details of this, the implementation details, and then we have the whole discussion, and we have also reactions and all that stuff, and even we can mention other people. So it's really, really cool. So again, we use this system for two types of projects: for the projects that have a start date and an end date, but also for projects that are just ongoing, that just will never stop. These are projects that are just a gift that keeps on giving. They're just all the time there. We just add new tasks, complete the others, and we just keep going. And also, which is really crucial for us, we choose tools that we can access from anywhere. So this way we can, use stuff on our iPhones, on our Android phones, on our iPads, everywhere. So we use Nozbe Teams for task management, for project management, for all that, and for this internal communication. We also use Slack, which also is a mobile-friendly tool. We use Dropbox Paper to write documents, because also it's mobile-friendly. We use Zoom for video conferencing, because it's mobile-friendly. So for us, this is really key, because we want to make sure that people can be productive with any device that they have. And especially right now with this whole pandemic situation, I think this is increasingly important, that all these devices can really, use these. They can be used for productivity. So another cool thing that we've integrated in Nozbe Teams, and which is really important for us for to make sure that we really communicate internally well, is the way to easily interact with people. So this way, when you create a task, you can easily delegate a task to somebody. As you can see here, I can delegate it to Hubert, and he can just, focus on that. And when he gets this task, he will be notified that, that I delegated this task to him. We can mention people. And as I mentioned before, we can use reactions. So there are many things that we can use to really to get, interactive with people. So, and these are all fairly easy things to do, things we know from social media, very easy. So again, task-based communication, very simple structure. You have projects, views, you have tasks in these projects or in these views, and then you have comments. And then in these comments, you iron out the details. And here in Nozbe Teams, we have these 4 additional views. You have priorities, or your priority tasks, incoming, stuff that is incoming to you. So things delegated to you, things that need your attention because they were mentioned, or they have a due date or a reminder. Activity, stuff that's happening in the project that you're following, or the project that you have favorited. And single tasks, your single tasks that you just want to, they don't belong to any project. They're just things that you have to do. So again, projects and views. Then in these projects and views, you have tasks, and there you have comments. Really easy, available, on all the platforms. And this way you can have a very effective internal communication in your team. All right. So now that we have, the task-based communication, we have it out of the way. Let's talk about the difference between Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams. I'll very quickly go through that. And as you know, Nozbe Personal was born because of my frustration, because I wanted to get stuff done. I wanted to get organized. And I built it in 2007, and then it grew in popularity. And we also added project sharing in Nozbe Teams, and we have in Nozbe Personal, sorry. And then it's been used also by teams. But looking how teams are using Nozbe Personal, we realized we needed something different for them. And now here are the main differences between Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams, and why they couldn't be the same app, but just newer. They had to be different apps. So first of all, in Nozbe Personal, you start with an account. It's just for you, an account that you can use. Because in Nozbe Personal, every project is by default private. So when you create a project in Nozbe Personal, it's your project, unless you choose to decide to share it. So when you share it with somebody else, then yes, they'll be able to access this project. But until you do, it's yours and for your eyes only. And then due tasks and things like that, like if something is due for today, or if you get a reminder or whatever, it all goes directly to a priority list, because like it's the easiest, because it's just for you. It's your personal task manager. So the priority is automatic. Like sometimes tasks just appear in your priority list because they need your attention. And this is this most straightforward design, and it works, and it's been working for more than 500,000 users from all over the world. So it's really, really good. And then comments in Nozbe Personal are the latest comment is on top, because if it's a personal tool, there are hardly any comments. Even if you share projects, you don't share, you share tasks, but you don't, put so many comments. So like having 2-3 comments, and then the most useful comment is on the top, it's fine. It's a good design. But in Nozbe Teams, it's different, because Nozbe Teams is a Teams productivity app. So it's a to-do app for a team. That's why you don't create an account, you create a team. Directly when you sign up, you can just add people from your team. And when you do, all the projects are shared by definition. So when you create a new project, everybody on the team has access to this project. Nozbe Teams comes with a free version for up to 5 projects and up to 5 people on the team. And these are all shared projects. So when you create a project, everyone on the team has access to it. Not everyone on the team must follow it or have it as a favorite project. Like they can choose to do, to be notified or not. It's up to them, but they have access to it. So they have access to all these tasks in these projects. What it does, it shortens the whole administration thing, because when you create many projects with your team, you don't have to just think about, tinkering which project to share with which person. You just, create the project, people have access to it. And then as you start working in the project, start adding tasks, delegating stuff to people, they hear about the project because, they receive tasks from there and they see what's going on. So it's really easy. It's just a very straightforward implementation. But again, it's completely different than what happens in Nozbe Personal. In Nozbe Teams Premium, you can also limit the number of people that have access to the project. So we can choose to have projects for everyone on the team, or you can choose just yourself or just a few people. So we can do that in Nozbe Premium, in Nozbe Teams Premium. And then in due tasks and tasks that are that you are mentioned in, the tasks that you get, all the reminders and the tasks that are being delegated to you, they all come to this new incoming view. This way, it's like your inbox. You can really decide what to do with these tasks, because again, in a team, there can be many tasks that you are mentioned in, that people want your feedback on. So we don't want them all in your priority. You, in Nozbe Teams, you choose manually which task is your priority. You have everything that goes to incoming, you process that, you decide, you respond, it's all there. And then you manually decide, okay, this task is my priority, this is not, this I'm gonna have be reminded later, or I'm gonna do it later. It's your choice. And because of that, because in Nozbe Teams, there are many projects and then there are many tasks, what happens is that there are also many comments. So we had to completely switch the comments. The comments, like the latest, is at the bottom, because you want to be scrolling and keeping up and catching up on comments by reading them. And it's much more convenient to do it like this than the other way around in Nozbe Personal. Again, it's a big shift. So as you can see, the differences between Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams are substantial, are very important. That's why we had to choose to have 2 products. So the question is, like, for whom is Nozbe Personal? For whom is Nozbe Teams? So Nozbe Personal is for busy professionals who really want to just get stuff done on their own. Maybe they want to have a duo account for themselves and their significant other or their business partner, and that's it. So for a very, very small, a team, or just for yourself. And of course, there are teams who are already using Nozbe Personal, and if it works for them, they should keep using it, especially that Nozbe Personal is a very mature product. It has many features, and Nozbe Teams was launched just now, and we had to limit just the feature scope to the most essential things that we're discussing today, the most essential task collaboration features. And Nozbe Teams is for teams that are starting out and trying to have this separation of internal communication versus external communication. They want to just communicate internally. They want to make sure that everybody on the team has access to the information. They want to do something, internally. They want something new, something better. So this is what Nozbe Teams is for. And now, starting from today until the June 10th, there is the promo that if you, should you choose to go with Nozbe Personal or Nozbe Teams with any of these products for a year, so you should upgrade or extend your account for a year, automatically you get 3 months free. There is no code, no nothing. If you just starting from today, from now, if you upgrade or extend your Nozbe Personal or your Nozbe Teams account for a year, you get additional 3 months free, which is a great deal because if you go with yearly payment, it's already 20% discounted. So you get a discount, and then additional on top of that, you get 3 additional months. So anyway, we'll talk more about it at the end of the webinar. Let's focus, let's get back to our webinar and our content, and let's talk about meetings. So, meetings. I say meetings should be done right or not at all. The thing is that, like, before this pandemic, having an office and going to an office, unfortunately, may create bad habits of just creating impromptu meetings. Just like, you're here, let's just meet together, let's just discuss this. Like, it's so easy to create meetings. Also, some software, packages like Outlook, they make it so easy to just, put the meetings on the agenda, just put them in the calendar, like, just put people there. So it's happening all the time. That it's just the meetings just spin off. Like, there is one meeting and this meeting creates another meeting, and and of course for managers also, it's a great way not to not to take accountability too seriously, because what you can do is you can just, let's, I don't know what to decide, I'm going to call a meeting, right? So meetings there are just too many meetings. And now that we have this pandemic situation and many people have to work from home, the biggest problem for teams is how many people you can squeeze into a virtual call. And this webinar is cool because we have so many people joining in. But for a meeting, this is crazy. Like, if you have so many people and everybody wants to say something, it's crazy. And of course, when you have a conference room and it's a big conference room, you can just fill it with people. But in a virtual call, it's more difficult. And also, meetings become this status symbol, he wasn't invited to the meeting because maybe he's not that important, or, he feels, bad because he wasn't invited and he should have been invited, whatever. So there's all this situation going on. And I think we should get back to basics, why we need a meeting. Because I would say the meeting should be like the last resort when we're doing something. Like, the meeting should be this moment where you have to explain things, maybe, fight over the nuances of a situation, but not to really present things. So let me explain how we do this. And I'm going to just show you on a real actual meeting that we have every week in Nozbe. We call this meeting Nozbe Design Fight meeting. We call it Design Fight because we really encourage the participants of this meeting to just fight over issues, fight over this feature, fight over this design, to really, be really, trying to push for your thing because you believe in it, but then also be open to a discussion about it, to see other points of view. And many times on this meeting, my ideas were completely crushed because they were not as good as I thought they were. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So what are the rules that we have for this specific Design Fight meeting? First of all, it's scheduled. It happens every Tuesday at 2 p.m. every week. So every Tuesday at 2 p.m. every week. We put it in our team Google Calendar. It's there. We know it's there, and it's happening. So there you go. Very easy to remember. there is an agenda for this meeting, and this agenda is in a project in Nozbe Teams, and I'm going to show you a little bit later how it's done. So there has to be an agenda for the meeting. So before I move further, so there is an agenda for the meeting. So if there is no agenda for this meeting, then what I just said before, that this meeting happens every week, goes to trash, because we don't have a meeting if there is no agenda. So if there is no agenda, we decide there is no meeting. Without agenda, this doesn't happen. And then all the documents are prepared before the meeting. We use Dropbox Paper as a way to write up documents, because also on Dropbox Paper, you can comment on the specific paragraphs, and in Dropbox Paper, you can access it anyway from all the devices. So we use that tool for specific, write-ups. And then we have a group of 6 people, and they're all the same 6 people every time in this one Zoom room. And we have we are using always the same Zoom room. So we have the same, Zoom link. And these are really 6 selected people. They are just like one of the smartest people in the company. There is the head of support, head of product, head of engineering, lead designer, and our Android engineer. So like 5 of the smartest people in the room in our company, and me. So this is who we have on this meeting. And because the group is always the same, even though, for example, our CTO is not there, he contributes, to the meeting, but he doesn't show up on the meeting. But he's not offended. He knows that, he has things to do, but he can contribute anytime. So we really make sure that this group is just these 6 people. And this way we can, we have more, we know each other better, so we can really freely express our opinions on designs. And we take notes. We take notes in Slack during the meeting, and then later we publish the notes. I'm going to explain how we do it. So let's go through the meeting agenda. Where is the meeting agenda for the meeting? It's in Nozbe Teams, in our project that you just saw before, Nozbe Design. Actually here, upcoming meeting section in the project. This is our agenda. And as you can see, we have 2 things on our agenda right now: tags and projects and tasks. Right now I'm working on this. And Slack integration, which Hubert is working on. And as you can see, Slack integration has comments and has all the details there. So probably it's all written up, and we will be discussing this on a meeting. The tags has no comments, so there is no write-up, there is nothing. So if we have a meeting, we won't be discussing it, because if there is nothing written before, there's just a topic, but without any write-up, it's not being discussed on a meeting. We are very strict about it, because why would we? Why would we discuss something which is not written up, which people are not prepared to discuss? So again, to write up stuff, we use Dropbox Paper as our app of choice, but you can use Google Docs, you can use Notion, you can use other tools to write up stuff. But what I recommend is using an app when you can freely write the document, and you can comment on the document, on the paragraphs in the document. Because apart from commenting on the whole issue here in Nozbe Teams, we like to comment also on the details of the whole document there. So this is our agenda. If our upcoming meeting section in Nozbe Teams in this project is empty, there is no agenda, there is no meeting. And the deadline to publish stuff for the agenda is on Monday, because the meeting is on Tuesday at 2 p.m. The deadline is on Monday, to make sure that we have in the morning, on Tuesday in the morning, we have time to really go through all the documentation, go through the agenda to be able to be prepared for the meeting. And then we have the meeting that happens on a Zoom call. And as you can see, we are fighting like crazy. So yeah, again, it's a Zoom call. There are just 6 people there. It's always the same address, so it's really easy to remember. And I know, like Zoom as the company, like they're not the best company in the world. Like they have some, privacy issues and some other issues. But what we have found out is their app is really good. I mean, we use the Zoom Premium, and the good thing is that really the app is stellar. It works on all the platforms. You can join the meeting from a Mac, from an iPad, from an iPhone, from an Android phone, and still see people in the virtual room. So it's really it works really good for us. Other packages were not as good. So we use that. So it's really, and then during the meeting, what we do is we take notes. We post notes either to the tasks or through Slack. We exchange notes freely. And we also sometimes share sketches and all that stuff. And after the meeting, we still publish like a write-up, what happened on this meeting for the entire team. So we have here a project called The Firm, where we have our announcements. And as you can see, we post reports from our Design Fight DF meeting every week when we have that meeting. You can clearly see that there is a report, it's in a comment, and then everyone from the company can see, okay, they've been working on that, they've been dealing with these issues, they were working on these features, so they know what to expect, they know what to see. And this way, people who are not involved in this meeting can still catch up and can still ask questions and can still, see what's going on in the company. And this is this big shift that I see right now in the situation where people are starting to work from home more, to have more flexible hours. It's really important to write things up. It's really the skill of writing is so important, because this way, in the entire team, people can see what we're working on. They are not on this meeting. They're not participating in this 6-person meeting. So if we wouldn't publish anything, they wouldn't know like what's going on. Why are these guys, laughing and sitting for 2 hours? Now they know what's going on. They know what to expect. And especially, for our customer support reps, it's really great for them to catch up, to know what features we're working on. This way they can, later tell our customers what's happening in the company. So to sum it up, I want to give you just additional, meeting tips, summing up what I just told you, plus additional tips that I haven't mentioned so much. So first of all, 2 hours max. We have found out that a 2-hour meeting is all we can handle. So after 2 hours, we're just tired, we're fatigued. So our meeting is 2 hours and then we're done. So even if we don't go through all the agenda, through everything, we just say, okay, like we prioritize, we first talk about the most important things. Sometimes what we do, we first deal with the easiest things and then we go to more important things. But still, we know that, if it's after 2 hours, okay, these 2-3 additional items, we'll just have to move them for next week. And that's it. Because otherwise, our decisions won't be good. And having an app, now 2 apps for, more than 500,000 users, you have to make sure that you really that you nail those features to make sure that, you can really deliver great features for the customers. So really, I would say 2 hours tops. Like longer meetings just don't make sense. So if you have a habit of having longer meetings, think about it. Maybe you should, make them shorter. The Zoom app free version has a 40-minute limit on a meeting. So which for many people it's annoying, but on the other hand, it's a good constraint as well. That you have to deal with something in 40 minutes and then you're done. So putting constraints, putting time limit on a meeting, I think it's very, very useful. And then the same group. So the same group of people, whenever, if you have a stable meeting like this one, that you have always the same group of people talking, it enables fighting. So it enables more free expression. You are not afraid to offend somebody. That, and this person knows that, you're not attacking them, you're attacking the issue, which is great. And of course, we're just humans. Sometimes when I have this brilliant idea for this brilliant feature, and then everybody else is saying, Michael, this feature doesn't make any sense, I feel a bit hurt. But on the other hand, without them, I wouldn't have this other point of view. So this is really important to have this kind of meeting of the same people this way. And the group has to be diverse. So we are really, because we have Ivona, who's also here today on this webinar. She's the chief of our customer support. She has a different point of view than the VP of product, and then me or the engineering guy, because the engineering is we can build it in 5 seconds. And then Ivona is but if we build it like this, we're going to have all these emails for customer support. And then she knows it. So this way we have this diverse group. So having that also helps to have a great meeting. Avoid brainstorming. So very often meetings are used to, let's brainstorm ideas. But brainstorming doesn't work because you're being asked to come up with a brilliant idea without really thinking through it. So all you do is you just rely on your first gut feeling, and sometimes gut feeling might be wrong without proper research and all that stuff. So what we do is, if we have an issue where we're not sure what to do, we allow ourselves to just, put ideas forward, do some kind of brainstorming, like put ideas forward, and then we say, okay, so we got these ideas, great. Who's going to write it up? Who's going to just focus on that? And then somebody just, raises the hand and says, okay, I'm going to deal with this. So they write down these ideas and they say, okay, I'm going to go and just analyze this subject, analyze this feature, and take all these ideas under consideration. This way, they prepare a write-up for agenda for next meeting, and we can read it before the meeting, and we can really have a good conversation about it. And then, as I mentioned so many times today, writing before and after is so important. It's really like it's the key that you really write stuff down before, so that people are prepared for the meeting, and then after, so that not only people who are on the meeting can really read it and like, okay, so this is what we decided, but also the rest of the team, the rest of the people who are not on this particular meeting can see what's going on, can see what's happening. So to sum it up today, meet Ola from our customer support. She's asking how to communicate in a team effectively, like what to do. So let me give you through 5 steps or 5, ideas for better team productivity. I'm going to start with an idea that is not so obvious, but I'm going to put it anyway. Like even our Nozbe team is using Nozbe to build Nozbe. It's very meta, but yes, even we are using our own product to build our product, which is really great because then we can test all the features before they are being shown to the customer. So we can be annoyed by the same bugs that later could annoy our customers. So hopefully we can fix them before we ship the new version. So we do it. But anyway, written communication first. Written communication is the most important thing. So write stuff up before you do a meeting. So yesterday on Tuesday, what happened was that we were supposed to have our design fight meeting, and we had three things on the agenda. So instead of having the meeting, we asked on Slack, okay, guys, so about these 3 issues, so what do we do? And then we decided, okay, this issue needs more write-up. This issue is already done. We want to implement it. And this other issue needs more research. So we did that, and we said, okay, so if we know all that, there is no need for us to meet. That's why written stuff is so important, because then you avoid these 2 hours of 6 people. Instead of that, they could be focusing on other stuff. And actually, Hubert, our designer, was helping me with the slides for this presentation. So he had more time for that. Communication through tasks and projects. So what I mentioned to you in the very beginning is this, that we have these projects and tasks and comments, and this is so good, and this is a great structure. What I didn't mention, though, is how effective it is because it's task-based. So there is a task to be done, and in the comments, you are ironing things out, what needs to be done. It's much more actionable. So you talk about stuff that needs to be done instead of just writing things up. And I like it because it's like more dynamic. There is a project, there are tasks, and then in the comments, we're working things out to make sure that we really get tasks done. And for us, done is all that matters. Like things have to be done. Tasks are meant to be done. And then do meetings right, or don't do them at all. And this is, really key. We've talked about it today. The meetings, they have to be planned. They have to be scheduled. They have to be prepared. People have to be prepared for these meetings. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to just call a meeting and brainstorm stuff together. It's not working. And then the 5th thing, use modern tools for the 2020. And this is another one of my observations in this pandemic time, especially, is that finally people are realizing, cool, like in 2020, we have so many powerful tools. Like we have, these mini computers in our pockets. We can use all this stuff. We have powerful places to write documents. We have great task managers. We have great video conferencing software, and it's all cheap or free even. Nozbe Teams is free for up to 5 people. Zoom meetings are free up to 40 minutes. Like, these things are free, and they're so easy to use. Like, you don't have to, before that, like in 20 years ago, you had to, have so much equipment to be able to do all that. And now you can. So make sure that you leverage these tools for 2020. Like, you leverage them. You see what you can see, what you can get. So it's really this is also my plea to you. Make sure that you choose modern tools right now. And then modern tools that sync across devices, like Nozbe does, like other tools do, that you can work effectively even with your iPhone or with your iPad or with your Android device or on your computer. Like everything right now, it's 2020. Like, it's a great time to be alive technologically. I'm a tech geek. I love this stuff, and I'm just blown away like how many things right now just work. So and even on my iPad I have LTE connection, so I have internet there everywhere. I don't have to ask for Wi-Fi password. So it's really, really cool. Anyway, as I promised to you, we're getting to the Q&A segment. So before that, there is a special bonus, the free ebook. In the chat, you will see the link to the ebook. So take it, it's yours. It's been rewritten for 2020. We made sure that we edited it, added more content. It's just better. And again, I think it's a perfect addition to what you heard today on this webinar. So make sure, grab your free ebook. It's there. Take it. And remember, today until the 10th of June, so just a few days, you have this special offer, promo for Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams. So for both products, that if you buy each of them, one of them for a year, you'll get additional 3 months free. So basically what happened, like if you do the maths, you save 20%, which is like paying for 10 months instead of 12, and then you get 3 months. So it's like paying for 10 months and getting 15. And why we do it like this, why we encourage a yearly commitment, because it takes time to do new habits. You need like a few months to really start, getting the hang of it, either personally for Nozbe Personal or with your team, to make sure that everybody's there and everybody's using the projects and tasks and comments correctly. It takes time. It takes time for everyone to just, set up their mobile devices and all that stuff. So that's why we believe that when you set up a yearly account, we give you like additional months. This way you have really time to get the hang of it and to really figure out this internal communication better and have better meetings as well. And there is additional bonus. It's something that we have never done before and we'll never do again. So really, this is just once in a lifetime opportunity. Nozbe Teams, because it's a new app, and we want to really understand how the customers are using it. And also we want to give you something special, something that doesn't scale really. All of the teams that will buy Nozbe Teams for a year in this promo time, so for the next 5 days, if you buy Nozbe Teams for a year, you not only get 3 additional months of Nozbe Teams for your entire team, but you'll also be one of the founding customers, which means that I will personally onboard you. And I have just prepared the whole June to be able to onboard first 50 customers. So it's on a first come, first served basis. So if you're late or if you're just upgrading on the last day, I might not have a spot for you anymore because I have only so many hours in a day. And I want to make sure that I do this onboarding well for everyone. So for the first 50 customers, 50 teams that will buy a yearly subscription, maybe more, I don't know, but on a first come, first served basis, I will be onboarding them personally. So I want to make sure that I understand your team, I get to know your team, and I help you set up your internal communication right personally. So normally when we have already hundreds of and thousands of customers, I won't be able to do it for everyone. That's why this is this special opportunity that I can do it for our founding customers. And again, normally this doesn't happen. Normally I don't do it. Normally I don't have the resources to do it. Normally I'm focused on building the product for all of our customers. But this is a special opportunity. So make sure not to miss it. Just go upgrade your Nozbe Teams account for a year, and we will be in touch with you to schedule an onboarding session with me. And of course, just to get out of the way, both of Nozbe products are completely risk-free. We have a productivity guarantee. If you don't like Nozbe Teams or Nozbe Personal, if it doesn't work for you, no problem, no hard feelings. We'll refund you the whole money. It's not we're not here for the short term. And as you know, we've been here for 13 years. We've, I hope we've earned already our reputation that, the cool thing is that by building Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams, we're building tools that help you be awesome. And this is what we want to do. So if our product doesn't make you awesome, doesn't make your team awesome, then, it's no problem, no hard, no foul. We'll refund you the money. So there's no risk on your part. And to sum it up, before we go to questions, with Nozbe Teams, you can communicate internally in a better way. You can use projects, tasks, and comments to get stuff done. You can plan your meetings, which are always optional and should be always optional. If there's no agenda, there is no meeting. Access from computer or smartphone. So make sure that you use modern devices, modern apps, and you can do great things together in a team. This tweet has been just tweeted by our Nozbe account, so make sure to retweet that and share it with anyone you like. So that's on my part. Let's focus on the Q&A segment. So Dominika, are you there?
Yes, I'm back. Thanks, Michael, for this great presentation and a lot of interesting information. We have a lot of questions, so
that's great.
I think we should just go right ahead to the Q&A session. Okay, so there's a first question from Samuel. He's asking where he can get the 10 steps to ultimate productivity book.
So you can either buy it online on productivitycourse.com. There is on this website. It costs $10 as far as I understand, and $1 from each sale goes to charity. Or if you upgrade today, for example, for Nozbe Personal, for your personal use, I personally use Nozbe Personal for my personal tasks, and I use Nozbe Teams for our team communication. Anyway, if you upgrade Nozbe Personal for a year with this promo, you not only get 3 months free, but you also get the book if you haven't gotten it before. So we also can ship you the book. So that's how you get it.
Okay, great. Here we have a question from Karin. Karin is asking if it is possible to briefly explain the most essential differences between Nozbe Teams and other softwares like Asana, Trello, and stuff.
Okay, so yes, of course. So very briefly, because this is not a very easy question, but very briefly. Asana, Trello, Basecamp, they're all really good alternatives. They're great apps. So out of the way, they're really great apps. But they're different. The cool thing about productivity is that it's like your favorite color. They can be different depending on how you work, how you roll. And Nozbe Personal was how I was rolling, how I wanted to organize my stuff. There were other task managers then, but Nozbe was the way I did it. And Nozbe Teams is the way we do it with our task-based communication, as I explained in this webinar. Also, so this is the first thing. So whether you like it or not, because you have to like your tool, because again, not Nozbe or any other tool like this is supposed to make you awesome. It's supposed to help you get your goals done. This is for you. It's not for us. You're not working on Nozbe, Nozbe for Nozbe. You're working for yourself. We are giving you a platform to be better, to be not to forget things, to really get stuff done. So so the taste, the way it works, the way it clicks is the first thing that you should. So that's why Nozbe has Nozbe Teams, for example, and both Nozbe and Nozbe Teams have free versions up to 5 projects, so you can really try it out and see if you like it. Second, for example, Trello is based on these Kanban boards, so it's more like this. And Nozbe is more vertical. So as you have seen in my presentation, there were sections. Instead of going there, you would go there, because I like this myself better. We like this better, just to scroll and just to see the sections. So it's a different way again of showing stuff. Also, Nozbe, to compare to these other platforms, has 2 engineering things that we do really great, and I can say with full honesty better than these apps, is we have really mobile apps that work offline. So the app, when you download, when you sync with your Nozbe account, you have all the information on your device. So even if your internet connection is flaky, or you're on a plane, you can still, manage your tasks. You can update, you can add comments, you can do everything. And the moment, your phone or iPad or a laptop catches the wave and connects to the internet, it syncs with the rest of the team. So. And most of these apps, as far as I remember and understand, don't do it. They rely on this. And second thing, Nozbe Teams and Nozbe Personal were built mobile first. So on the mobile device, on an iPhone, on an iPad, and I'm an iPad geek, you can do as much as you can do on a desktop version. And these other tools very often were just designed first and foremost for a desktop computer, and then they added this mobile companion app. So you can do some of the things and sometimes, but not everything. And usually they have to work online. In our case, it's not in our values. In our values, you have to be able to work offline if the internet is flaky, or it just because then the application is just fast. So you just add a task and it's added, and then it syncs later. This way you don't have to wait for the internet to catch up, to add a task, because we don't want that. We want it, to be really fast. And also this fact that it's powerful. Like we have this customer who was okay, I forgot this about in the presentation. So in the presentation, when I was talking about the task-based communication, I forgot to mention that all the attachments that are being sent to a task. So when in a task, you can add a comment with attachment, and this attachment, when you send it to Nozbe, it's being encrypted. So it's encrypted before it's being sent to the internet. So what it means is that it's so much safer than email, because when you, as I mentioned, an email attachment is not encrypted. So in Nozbe it is. That's why, for example, many lawyers are choosing to use Nozbe, because they know that they have this top secret, documents they can upload to a Nozbe task, and it's being encrypted. So even our engineers who have access to the drive where we store the attachments cannot really see them because they're encrypted already. So it's really safe. What I'm getting here is that this is an additional feature that we really stand for. That we make sure that the information, the documents are encrypted. I'm not sure about these other tools, but in our case, we encrypt attachments before they are being sent to the internet. This way, the attachments are really safe for you guys. So these are the differences. They are more like contact our support. Dominika will be able to give you more information, and anyone else on the team. Again, I think all the apps right now, like this 2020, all the apps are really good. You have to find the ones that work for you. Hopefully, this is Nozbe or Nozbe Teams. If not, it's fine as well.
Okay, Michael, thank you for this brief answer. And we have a few questions about the features for Nozbe Teams. Karen is asking about the Slack integration that you mentioned before during your presentation, and she would like to know when we are planning to launch it.
So if I tell you exactly the date, I'm going to be killed by my VP of product, so I don't want to die. But jokes aside, it's one of our priorities right now. So that's why I dared to mention it on the webinar. If it would be like in months, then I wouldn't do it. So this is also what I want to clear this up. Some people were complaining that Nozbe Personal wasn't getting enough love right now because we were building Nozbe Teams. And it's true, because we're a small team. So we had to dedicate our resources to the new one to be able to ship it finally. And right now, we have this new cadence of shipping quickly updates to Nozbe Teams. So my best answer for you is soon, and pretty soon, because we really want this Slack integration to work. Because this, apart from email, we also want to get off of Slack as much as we can, because very often, as you know, Dominika, we discuss things on Slack and then later we don't copy it as a comment, for example, to a task in Nozbe. And this is a shame, because then we just forget about it, and then it's there and okay, we discussed this, but why we discuss this? So it's a shame. So what we want to make sure is that even if you use Slack just like we do, you can quickly copy a few comments and just make them a task. So this way you don't forget about this and make it actionable. So make a Slack thread or a Slack, a comment actionable instead of just having it there and just disappear, in the messages. So again, it's a good thing. We use Slack ourselves. So it's one of the pain points for us, not to be able to do it automatically, but having to do it manually. So this even forces us to work on this more because we want this integration as much as you.
So we can hope to see it soon, right?
Yes.
And what about other integration? Well, other features. Project templates, filters, sorting options that we already have in Nozbe Personal, but there are a few participants asking about if we are going to implement it also in Nozbe Teams.
Yeah, so not all of them. We don't know, so we cannot promise all of them. So that's another thing. In Nozbe Teams, because it's a different beast, it's a different app. It's app for the teams. We are rethinking every feature and also every integration. If the integration makes sense for a team, we do it. If it doesn't, we don't. So like Slack, it's a perfect example that of course it does. It does much more than for Nozbe Personal. Filtering and all that stuff, yes, it does. But we are studying right now the way we want to do it. So for example, as I mentioned, task-based communication, projects and views, tasks and comments. So the views part is important. So we want to make sure that you can be very flexible with your views. So in the future, expect to have really powerful search, powerful views. So you can customize Nozbe Teams to your liking, to see things the way you want it. I cannot promise you exactly how it's going to be done because we're still, ironing out the designs. But yes, this is something we want to work on, definitely, because we need these views ourselves. Like we want to make sure that we can just customize a view that, that has all the tasks that we are interested in right now for some reason, like for purposes of weekly review or something like that, So that's for sure. What did you ask also?
We have filters, sorting, and templates.
Templates.
There are a lot of teams using templates in Nozbe.
Yes. Oh, I mean, okay. So templates, we had to cut them for the launch. Like, so again, we want to and because Nozbe Teams projects are a bit different and we have sections, we couldn't just, copy the code in any way. So we really have to figure it out again, but we will. So yes, project templates. I believe in automation. I believe in, and we will be adding both project templates, but also we are right now exploring the feature of templates for comments. This way you can, just replicate the same comment in several tasks. So commenting and making projects will be much more powerful for a team, and especially, it's shared knowledge. If you have a template that you share within the team, and right now, for example, in Nozbe Personal, you cannot do that you have a project template that you can share in the whole team. You have to create a project first. In Nozbe Teams, we want to make sure that just like you have projects, you have also, templates that are just there, so we can just use them. This way you share knowledge having these templates.
Yeah, and it's easier and faster.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting question about Nozbe Teams. Someone is asking why, well, maybe a different way. He has a team and have some project that all the teammates should see. Other projects are just for a few people. Yeah. And he's asking why not let admin or owner choose which projects should be open and which projects should be just available for some team members.
So in Nozbe Teams, if you have the premium version, yes, you can do that. I mean, this is really easy. So as I mentioned, they are shared first. So this is like the default option. But if you have a premium version of Nozbe Teams, you can limit the sharing, so you can decide. So what we have found out, as I mentioned in this webinar, is that teams prefer to have projects shared, most of them, and people can choose to go to them and see them. And they have only a limited number of projects that they want to really just have and just narrow a number of people that they access. So that's why we switched the whole paradigm. But yes, in Nozbe Teams Premium, So if you use the promo and get the premium version, you can have unlimited projects, and unlimited projects which are just for everyone, or unlimited projects that are just, limited to just you or just a few people. So I understand it completely. Yeah, there are some projects also in our company where not everyone has access to, and it's fine. But as we mentioned, like Dominica, you see from in our team, most of the projects are just completely open because, open for the team. They're accessible for the team because it's just more practical, and we want to be, more transparent. And I think, again, speaking of changes in the world, I think this transparency of teams, especially when people are not, working from the same office, they are, spread and they have to work from homes. It's really good. Like the more transparent you are with your team, the better. The more I reveal to the team, you like it more, you like working here more, right? So we're trying also with our design, to foster transparency. But of course, if there are just, financial projects or projects that you just are surprise projects, for example, like we have, a gadget project that we design gadgets for our team. We don't want everyone to see what we are designing because, we want to be surprised. It's fine.
Surprise, yeah.
You can have a project with just limited number of people that have access to it.
Okay. Here's a question about migration. Kevin would like to know if there will be some option to move all the projects from Nozbe Personal to Nozbe Teams, because now they can only do it project by project. But if you have a lot of projects, it can be a little complicated.
Yeah, we are just right now working on that. So first of all, again, disclaimer: if you have a team in Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Personal works for you, just keep using it because it's stable. It's a very mature product. But if you like the appeal of Nozbe Teams and you have set up a free account to test it to see if you like it and want to use the promo and everything, I understand that. Do it. But then be in touch with our customer support. They will help you with the migration. They'll ask you questions, which features you use in Nozbe, which features you rely on in Nozbe Personal, and which features you don't rely on so much. So this way you will be able to assess better if you can migrate right now to Nozbe Teams or not. And yes, right now, exactly like this week, we are testing a new way to export more projects at the same time. And we will do it like this, that if you contact support and you will explain that you want to migrate, the support will lead you to it, and then support will enable this option on your account. So this way you will be able to migrate. So this is like, because we want to make sure that, that exactly, the right team migrates to the right team, and then they do it consciously. So yes, we will assist you with that. We have great customer support.
Just contact us.
Contact us. Don't be a stranger. We'll have your back. So yes, if you want to migrate more projects, this will be an option very soon, and very, very soon. And the customer support will help you with that.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question about Nozbe Personal. Are we going to develop Nozbe Personal? Because of course now we just took a little more time to develop Nozbe Teams, but what happens with Nozbe Personal?
So yeah, there will be developments. There will be a roadmap. We will publish it a little bit later. Right now we are like a post-launch hangover, so we are really busy, and especially with the pandemic, it was just really crazy town here. But now we're getting the hang of it. We're figuring it out. One of the first major features, again, going in this security theme, is that we will be enabling two-factor authentication for both Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams users. So we're working on that. But there will be more ideas and more posts later. So just follow our blog, nozbe.com/blog. Follow our announcements. Ask support. We'll be publishing more a little bit later. Just give us a few moments. So we just launched Nozbe Teams. Right now we have this webinar and the promo, and after that I will be onboarding Nozbe Teams users. And on the other hand, our team will be working on the roadmap and on the features. So yeah. So for a small team like ours, it's a little bit difficult, this dance between, these two products, but we want to make sure that we can, be of service for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We have an interesting question from Rolf. He's working with 1,800 employees, and obviously there are meetings, meetings, and meetings.
Oh,
So he's asking, what is the main driver to start a revolution and cut down all of those meetings?
yeah. So I think the best way to motivate people, and I see that in our company, was okay. So what's the agenda, and what are the documents for the meeting? And then when you have asked this question, like, no, we'll develop agenda on the meeting. No. If you develop agenda on the meeting, on the go, as you go, then this meeting doesn't count. So like have this restriction that there has to be agenda. That's the most important thing. That's the first thing, so that you know what to work on. But second, then I would push more and say, you don't present new ideas on the meeting. You present the ideas before the meeting, as I mentioned in the webinar, so a meeting before the meeting. So you present the ideas as a written document before the meeting, everybody reads it up, and then we have the meeting. So this way, people will think twice whether to do a meeting, because they have to be prepared first. So they have to work first to make the meeting happen. So for me, of course, I have, so just full disclaimer, I have a small team of 20-something people. You have a team of 1,000 people. So it doesn't compare. I cannot with authority say exactly what you have to do. But what we have found out in our team is that there is a big pushback. If there is no agenda, people are literally saying to me, like to the boss, they're saying, Michael, there is no meeting. I mean, there is no agenda. We're not meeting. We're like, I have things to do. And what should I say? Should I want my meeting back? Well, no, my just, colleague just said they want to work on some stuff. Like, let them work. And you will see, like, what you can do is, start with one meeting that just happens, that is just too chaotic all the time. And then put the agenda restriction and then the document restriction later on this meeting first. And you will see how people will respond to it. You will see if people will really work on that stuff. So I think I would try that, because I don't know, Dominika, what do you think? Like, I think it's the best start for it, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to be prepared all the time. You just doing the meeting without any agenda. It's just wasting your time.
So
because everyone starts like throwing ideas in the air, and nobody is taking notes, and everybody's forgetting about everything. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we have this additional meeting that we just created like a half a year ago, which is brilliant. We have we call it QS, so quality support. So what we do is one support person is running the meeting, and then Ivona, the head of support, and me are on this meeting. But the cool thing is that for the meeting to happen, the support person who is running the meeting has to prepare the agenda. They have to prepare the report that we're going to discuss, and they are asking me to go through this report and comment on this report before the meeting. So this way, when we have the meeting, we are not discussing the whole report. We're discussing some issues from the report. And this way, the meeting, we cut down the time from the meeting from 3 hours to, to hour and a half.
An hour and a half, yeah.
Yeah, right. But very often, hour and a half, because we have some additional ideas because of what was in the report. But it's really great that, like, and I remember one of the pushback was when like one time I wasn't really very well prepared. I just looked at the document right before the meeting, and I had complaints from you, and from one of you. I don't remember who was that, but so they told me, Michael, like, we need you prepared, and This is great. Like, this is true. Like, I was ashamed because I have to be prepared. Like, I'm the CEO, yeah, but I have to be prepared for the meeting. Otherwise, I'm not giving value. I'm not giving my best thought, because again, if I'm not prepared, you're requiring, what happens is that I'm trying to come up with something brilliant on the spot, and it doesn't happen. So what I do right now, I'm asking always Ivona, okay, Ivona, is the report ready? One day before the meeting. So this way, when she sends me the report one day before the meeting, I'm reading the report earlier without commenting, just reading the report. I'm sleeping on it. And on the next day in the morning, I'm commenting on the report. So this way, I have more time to really be prepared, to really mentally digest the situation. Because in each of these meetings, we're dealing with 10 support cases. And I have to make sure that I give good feedback. And
that you know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And sometimes I just need to check things like, this customer is saying that, the customer support rep is saying that. Is it really true? Like, is it really like the case? I have to check in the logs, or check, in our features, or check in our projects. I have to be prepared. Like, being prepared for a meeting is obligation for every meeting participant. If they are CEO, or they are just a regular employee or whatever, everybody has to be prepared. Otherwise, why would they be on a meeting? They don't contribute anything then. Like, what would they contribute? Even the brilliant CEO, if he's not prepared, like, he's not brilliant, really.
No. Okay. So that's all about the meetings. And here we have another question. Why do we discuss tasks on Slack instead of in Nozbe? Because you said that some things we just start discussing on Slack, and then we just decide on things on Slack. So why do we do that if we already have Nozbe?
Yeah, so Slack is more real time, and especially in a team like us, when we have no water cooler, we have no coffee place, where we just discuss things like a normal company. We need Slack for that, just for a little, just to say, what we're doing, just to have some status updates and whatever. So, and because of that, and because we are human, very often we just start discussing things on Slack. And that's why we need this discipline to sometimes, okay, this was really good discussion, but we need it in Nozbe for to make it actionable. That's why we need the Slack integration, because but it happens on Slack because we're just human, and sometimes it just does. So when I'm telling you that like, everything that I'm telling you is good advice, and we are following it to 90%. But in 10%, we're failing as anyone else. And sometimes on Design Fight, we do brainstorm a little bit too long, like 5, 10 more minutes long. But then somebody wakes up and like, oh, guys, stop brainstorming. Done. And then, of course, we just say, okay, who's going to do that? And then it's done. So we also are just susceptible to making mistakes and all that stuff. And that's why sometimes on Slack, we have a very good discussion. But that's why we want this discussion to appear in Nozbe, to make sure that somebody can follow up, that it's in a structure, we know where it is. Just like for this webinar, we were preparing ourselves for this webinar. I was sending some things to you and to Hubert through Slack, but the most important things we were sending to each other through Nozbe tasks, because we wanted to make sure that people from the team can see all these things as well. So we had to decide what goes through Slack and what goes to Nozbe. So, and sometimes we make mistakes as well, but we're getting the hang of it. But for us, the most important information, like the source of truth, is Nozbe. So if somebody,
exactly. And there are also a lot of brilliant ideas that just born from a short conversation on Slack. So
so later it's our obligation to follow through and just copy it and just make sure that it's being worked on in Nozbe, where nobody will forget it. Because if it just stays in Slack, it's like it's like in Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Vegas, yeah. That's true. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question from Lawrence. Is our intention to move completely to Teams and for Nozbe Personal to slowly disappear?
So we don't know what the future holds. For now, Nozbe Personal is like, we had so to give you an example. Last year, we still thought that Nozbe Teams will be Nozbe 4, so a newer version of Nozbe. But then we realized it can't be, because it has to be so different. And as I explained in this webinar, it's completely different, and we just couldn't enforce this kind of change to our users. So we made the difficult decision to be a two-product company. And then later we thought, maybe we can, put the personal stuff in Nozbe Teams quickly and all that stuff, and it will be great. But then we thought, no, we have so many cool ideas for team empowering features. Let's focus on that. And that's why right now, for the time being, I can tell you with full honesty, we are developing Nozbe Personal, and we're right now developing Nozbe Teams. Yes, we're developing Nozbe Teams a little bit faster because it's a new product and it's lacking some of the features that we really want them there to be. But to give you like a date or what's going to happen really in the future, We don't know. It's one of the things that I love about this industry, that the industry is moving so fast. Like, 10 years ago, if you would tell me that I'm going to be doing all my work on my iPad, and then it's like, it's going to be like, this is going to be everything I need to get my work done. This is crazy, but this is true. So it's all, I love this. I love this industry because it's so fast and so fast developing. And that's why I love these modern tools. I love these modern gadgets. I love these modern apps. So I can't tell you how it's going to be. Right now, I can tell you is this. I have my personal tasks in Nozbe Personal. I have my Nozbe Teams tasks. My team communication channel is in my Nozbe Teams account with my team. So this is how I do stuff right now. I know not everyone can, afford to have two products, but on the other hand, Nozbe Teams is being paid for by the company. Nozbe Personal, you can pay it by yourself. So this is how I do these things. How it's going to be long term, the future will tell us.
We'll see.
We just don't know yet. It's like, this thing is changing so fast, and what we want to do right now is to just deliver great products for both, for the personal use and for the teams. We want to make sure that personal users, our busy professionals, can do awesome things, can do great things, and also teams can do great things. And for that, right now, we think that the way to go is to have two products.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Here is the last question for today.
Okay.
Are we going to add the email integration to Nozbe Teams as we already have it in Nozbe Personal? I guess that's an important feature. So what can you say about it?
Of course. Like I'm like, you should have seen the conversations I have with my VP of product. Ship it. This is my conversation. So we are finishing it up. It's coming also this one is coming very soon because it's being worked on right now. My VP of product was pushing back because Rafał, he wanted to make sure again that we do it right, that we rethink it again to make sure that it's really good. And I think this will be really good for a team, like how we're going to do it. So yes, but it's coming definitely. And in the future, I see a possibility for more integration with email, because this is another thing. That's why I mentioned email in this webinar. Email is our main competitor. People still use email to communicate and to collaborate, and we want to make sure that they stay off of email internally. And for that, I think we can do lots of good stuff. We can integrate better with the Gmail API, with Outlook API, with all that stuff. So hopefully, like in the future, we'll do it even better. But this basic thing that you can forward an email to Nozbe Teams is coming pretty soon, because this is like one of the most requested features and also one of the most relied on feature for many busy professionals. So many people who have teams and like Nozbe Teams, they want to go there because they're waiting for this particular feature. So yes, it's coming very soon. So even if you upgrade right now, use the promo, don't worry, it's coming very soon. It's being worked on right now. I can tell you with full honesty here. So I want it. I want it.
Yeah. So ship it. Ship it.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell it to Rafał. Ship it. So yeah. So and this is, again, I want to just before we wrap up, I want to finish this, that because I use both of the products, Nozbe Personal and Nozbe Teams, I know the shortcomings of both of these products. I know where I want these products to be better. So, and we as a team know it. So that's why I think it's a privileged situation where we are building something not just for a customer or for an abstract customer. We're building something for ourselves. So we love it or hate it as much as everyone else. That's why like this kind of feature, for example, I need it very soon. I need it now. I need it yesterday. So we want this to be happening. So So that's why we're passionate about it, and that's why we've been in this business for 10 years. And that's why when people ask me what's next for me after this, I'm saying next version of Nozbe. Like for me, I'm still I'm still passionate about it.
Okay, thank you, Michael. That was the last question for today. Thank you for this amazing webinar. Thank you for all the questions you answered. I think you gave a lot of great tips. And thank you guys for joining us here today. We hope that now you feel motivated to change the way you communicate with your teams. Michael, is there anything that you would like to add? Any closing remarks?
Thanks everyone for joining, for tuning in. I was just blown away that basically almost everyone stayed until the very end. So it's just amazing. So I'm really happy. I think that was a great group, great questions. And, let's keep making you awesome. Let's keep making your teams awesome. And let's, despite all this, let's embrace modern tools and just get stuff done.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, guys. We hope to see you on our future webinars, and take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.